Hello everyone, dear seniors and gentle souls. Welcome to a moment just for us. No rush, no traffic, no complicated gadgets. Just you, me, and a little warmth. Today we talk about something that doesn't require a degree in neuroscience or a fancy treadmill. With blinking lights, we talk about hugs. Not just any hugs, but the kind that come with fur whiskers, floppy ears, and eyes that say, I love you without a single word. As we talk about hugging your pet, whether it's a sleepy old cat that insists your lap is the best throne, or a slightly confused dog who thinks the mailman is a ninja each time he walks by. There is magic in those furry little moments. They are not just pets, they are companions, roommates, tiny therapists with tails. And when we wrap our arms around them, the world becomes just a bit softer. No. Before you say, oh come on, I'm too old for that, let me stop you right there. Let me tell you about Mr. Harold from Blackpool, who at 83 found the love of his life in a rescue beagle named Biscuit. Biscuit snored louder than a lawnmower and had a habit of stealing socks. But every time Harold held him, Harold's hands stopped shaking and his laughter returned like an old friend who'd been away too long. You see, there's a secret in touch, and it's not just sentimentality. Science is catching up to what our hearts already know. Petting a dog, stroking a cat releases oxytocin. That's the cuddle hormone, the one that says, hey, things are okay. Let's keep breathing. It lowers stress, slows the heart, and reminds the brain that not everything is a problem to solve. Sometimes things are just to be felt. No. Some of you have lost pets, and the ache is still there like a chair that no one sits in anymore. But remember, as the wise Rumi once said, don't grieve. Anything you lose comes round in another form. And sometimes that form has feathers or scales, or even an odd-looking rabbit with one ear that sticks out like an antenna tuned to your feelings. What matters is not the kind of pet, the connection, the routine, the mutual weirdness between you and a creature who doesn't judge, who doesn't care if your knees crack or your jokes are from 1973. They are simply there. And in a world where many things fade, that presence is a small miracle in the hug. Oh, that hug, it's not just physical, it's a whisper. It says, I see you, I know you. And even if your hair is mostly memory and your back protests every time you sneeze, you are not alone. You are still love it. So, my dear friends, if you have a pet, go give them a gentle squeeze. If you don't, well, maybe, just maybe, it's time to consider one. There's a shelter somewhere with a tail wagging for you, or a purring hello waiting to curl up on your favorite blanket bed. As George Eliot once said, animals are such agreeable friends. They ask no questions, they pass no criticisms, and I'd add one more thing: they always know when you need a hug even before you do. So now, dear seniors, let us wander a little deeper into this gentle forest of fur and feathers, because once you've hugged a pet and felt the world exhale, you realize it's not just comfort, it's companionship of the purest kind, not built on words or errands or memories of better days, but on presence, on the now, on this moment, where a tail wags or a paw rests softly on your lap and says, I'm here. And that is enough. Let me tell you about Madame Esther from Lyon, who once ran a bookstore and now keeps company with a cat named Voltaire. Yes, she named him after the philosopher, although she swears he is far more judgmental than the original. Voltaire sits like a furry statue on her armchair and blinks slowly as if he knows all your secrets and approves only of some. And yet when Esther has one of her cloudy days, when her joints whisper complaints and the clock seems to tick louder than usual, Voltaire climbs onto her chest and purrs with the gravity of an old monk meditating. In the Sunan, that, my friends, is the beauty of these creatures. They live in the now, while we often dwell in the past or worry about the future. They are always present, always available, and perhaps that is their greatest gift. They pull us back to the moment with a nudge or a lick or that unmistakable look that says, come on, stop thinking and just be with me. Great. Albert Schweitzer once said, there are two means of refuge from the miseries of life: music and cats. And I would dare to add dogs, birds, turtles, and yes, even that grumpy guinea pig who thinks he's the mayor of your living room. They each bring something we often lose as we grow older: simplicity, routine, affection without agenda. Some people think pets are a hassle. Too much work, too much hair, too many vet bills. But let me ask you, isn't it also a hassle to be lonely? Isn't it tiring to scroll through the TV for hours trying to find something that fills the silence when the solution might be napping by your feet or blinking at you with sleepy devotion, dear seniors? This is not a plea to adopt. Every stray that crosses your path, though, if you do, bless you, it is an invitation to consider the quiet revolution of a wagging tail or a gentle nuzzle. The rebellion against isolation fought with paws and whiskers and tiny heartbeats that echo in tune with your own fur in those soft moments, in those hushed exchanges of breath and warmth. And fur you may find something that no prescription bottle offers. Hope not loud and boisterous, but calm and steady. A hope that says today is still a day worth loving, still a life worth touching, still a soul worth hugging again. If you ever feel unsure, if you ever wonder what difference a small pet could make, just look into their eyes. They hold galaxies of trust and the ancient wisdom that somehow, despite everything, you are still needed. You are still wanted, and you are still enough. So here we are, dear seniors, arriving gently at the last stretch of our quiet little journey. Through warm paws, soft fur, and the sound of a purr that rumbles like distant thunder in your chest. You see, by now you've met Esther and Voltaire. You've walked alongside quiet afternoons filled with tail wags and sleepy eyes, and maybe, just maybe, you've remembered a pet from your past, or imagine one curling up beside you as the kettle sings in. Now we arrive at Mr. Edgar from Birmingham, who never married, never owned a telly, and says he never needed one because for 30 years he lived with a parrot named Plato, yes, Plato, who whistled like a kettle and insulted everyone who wore a tie. Edgar says the bird kept him sharp, kept him laughing, and most of all kept him company through long winters and short summers. And when Plato finally flew off to that great jungle in the sky, Edgar adopted 2 finches and named them Aristotle and Nietzsche because he said he still needed arguments over breakfast. Me point is this: our animal friends, however small, however stubborn or silly, they may seem often become our greatest teachers. They remind us that we do not age alone, that we do not need to be young to be loved or silly to laughed at. Sometimes love has paws, sometimes it has feathers, and sometimes it just follows you from room to room, like a shadow with a heartbeat, as the great George Eliot once wrote. Animals are such agreeable friends. They ask no questions, they pass no criticisms. And in a world that too often forgets the beauty of simplicity, that is a miracle all on its own, because to be accepted without explanation, to be loved without requirement, that is something truly rare. And let us not forget the health of it all. The walking, the laughter, the routines, the way a cat's purr calms the nervous system, or how stroking a dog lowers your blood pressure. They are not just companions. They are healers in disguise, wearing fur coats and sometimes eating your slipperso. If you are sitting alone, if your room is quiet and your chair too large for one, think of the small ones out there waiting in shelters or snoozing behind glass with names like Muffin or Socks or Sir Wigglebottom. Perhaps your next great love is waiting not on a dating site, but behind a tail wag or a gentle Mio Becca's dear hearts. The story is not over, because love does not expire. It only changes shape. And sometimes that shape is small and fluffy and fits perfectly into the curve of your hand or the hollow of your chest. When you sleeping, when someone asks you what keeps you going, what makes you smile without a reason, you might just smile and say, "Oh, nothing, just my roommate. He has 4 legs and never interrupts me when I talking." So we end not with a goodbye, but with a soft nudge, a gentle paw, and the knowledge that sometimes the best way to face the world is with a bit of fur on your clothes and a warm little heart beating beside your own. And so, dear listener, as our story gently draws to a closelet, you should remember that love often comes wrapped in fur, with eyes that gleam like home and hearts that never judge eye in the quiet corners of life, where loneliness might tiptoe a soft paw or warm nuzzle reminds you that we are still needed, still loved, still wonderfully human for you who have walked many miles, have weathered storms, and sung lullabies to generations now dis you, are never too old to be someone's favorite person, Evan. If that someone has a tail and sleeps in a basket. Thank you for spending this tender moment with you, Stank. You for allowing us into your heart, for every memory you share with your petting. Every silent conversation only the soul can hear. If this story touched you, please consider sharing it with someone who might need a smile. Today, like this video, subscribe for more gentle stories, and let us know in the comments what your pet has meant to you. Until next time, may your days be filled with gentle, paw-soft person, the unwavering loyalty of a friend who loves you just as you are.